Tammy, except I had on a skull hoodie. But I was like, we were both kind of stubborn, and we both kind of think we know it all, and you know, I was like, oh, I'm never gonna do that sponsoring thing. It's stupid, you know, and that's stupid. And I didn't want to be one of those people that everyone looked at that way. And I went on to become like a record recruiter in my other company. And what I realized, and I don't remember who said it to me, it was a trainer like at a national level, and I was going to do a meeting, and I said, how do you train people how to, we used to call it sponsoring, which is even stupider than recruiting. I like the name hire, you know. And I said, how do you train on that? And she said, first of all, it has to start with the individual, and there has to be a belief in that what you have to offer is really, really cool. Did you see the simplicity with what I just asked all of you? If you would want to go do $50 for 2 hours of work, and we'd have to go to these different locations. And almost all of you were up for that. How much do we make in 2 hours? Right? I've had times, well, the most I ever made in 2 hours so far, and this job was $1,000. I did a $2,000 net show. And when I left there, I'm like, I just made frickin' $1,000 in 2 hours. Okay, so first of all, you have to start with the belief that what we have to offer is really, really cool. The shoe thing sounded really fun. Well, so is jewelry. It's really, really fun. The other thing is you have to take, like when I just offered you that shoe thing, did any of you feel like there was anything in it for me?
No.
No? Because there wasn't. Well, you guys, it takes a little bit of practice, but eventually you will really get it where you're a giver, not a taker. And in this business, a lot of times we recruit because it's about us. And we make it all about us. As a matter of fact, how do you earn the trip? Okay. Somebody tell me. Tell me what we had to do last year to earn the trip.
Hire 4 and...
Put it in a full sentence.
We had to hire 4 people.
Okay, thank you. We had to.
Yes.
Thank you. I'm glad you said it that way. We have to recruit 4 people. And I went on this whole training once that they said if you just take, it was on a whole different part of life, but it's like, write down a whole bunch of things you have to do. Okay, now I want you to do this. Cross it out and put get to. I get to. So right away you're thinking, I have to. It's hard. I don't really want to do it. It's all about me. It's something that has to get done or I'm not going to earn this trip, right? If you start living this enough, you'll never have to do that again. That, you know, I know there's people right now that I have $1,000 drawing out there for people to recruit and put their intro shows in by Wednesday, and there are some of you out there sitting on recruits because you want them for the next trip. Don't tell me who you are. But I know you're doing that. And you know what you just did to yourself? You did a couple things to yourself. Okay? Number one, you're using that person because maybe they need money now. Okay? Secondly, you're screwing yourself up. No other way to say it, because I learned that if there's ever going to be a burden, the onus of the burden is going to be on me. So if I recruit someone and I put them in Wednesday, well, guess what? Then I get to recruit 4 new ones because I just gave away that comfort. And what's that going to do for me, putting myself in that position? It's going to make me be better. It's going to make me a better worker. It's going to make me be harder. And I know a lot of us learn the games and we play the games. And guess what happens? We earn the trip every year or every 6 months, and then our recruiting the flatlines. And how many people are out there that would be absolutely thrilled to be making $150 for 2 hours of work? It's just amazing, you know? The other part of what I wanted to tell you about when I did the little shoe thing is, what did I say? I will go with you. Okay? So there's a couple different ways to recruit in some of the language I learned. And first of all, you want to build it into your everyday business. Okay? So I make recruiting calls as often as I make booking calls. And again, it is about building relationships. And one thing that someone said to me once is like, don't you think it's really powerful that we get to choose who we work with? And sometimes I hear people saying, my team isn't doing this, or are they? And I'm thinking, well, you hired them. specifically to you. I talk to myself this way too. Just I want you to know that. But I will say, Mary Grace, whenever you're in one of those moods, it all comes down to laziness. Would I love if all 715 people that have come into this business in the last year and a half were selling $2,500 a month? Do you think I would love that? Yes. Is it reality? No, because that would be about me. Would I love if I could take a night off and every other person in the whole entire group was doing a show? Would I love if I could have said, Kate, I don't feel like going to the rally tonight. Cover it, okay? Would I have loved that? Yeah. What's it all come down to? Laziness. Yes, it would be wonderful if every day, everybody that we ever hired or anything we ever did or every show we ever booked or every customer we ever had, all like had $500 orders and every single show booked, and in fact they brought us more, and all we were doing is sitting on the couch going, this is the best job ever. I mean, come on. What it all comes down to is laziness, because of course we would love for it to be easier sometimes, but anything worth achieving. I'm very proud to be a company vice president. There's only 11 of us, and there's a reason why there's only 11 of us. I'm proud of that. If they just said it's open to everyone and every show is ever going to book and every recruiting call you ever made is going to hold, and by the way, each of them is going to go for area before you know it, division, and everyone becomes a company vice president, a person with my personality would not find that attractive at all, because I wanted to do something special. When you become a leader in this company, you are someone special. Becoming one, you're special. Continuing to lead and grow, you are super special. Super, super special. So you deserve to make a lot of money because you're doing your job. You're not just keeping your job. But anyway, about the recruiting thing. So I want to give you a couple, let me refer to my notes. First of all, I want you to think about how I did that shoe thing, because that's how I do the recruiting thing. So if I'm doing the relationship building thing, like with Tammy, and then I'm able to casually say to someone, we are understaffed here in the Missouri area, which we are. Totally understaffed in the Missouri area. We are specifically looking for sharp people to sell jewelry with us. The pay is about $75 an hour. It's absolutely free to get started. Do you or anybody that you know think you would have some interest in that? How many times do we really just with all confidence say things like that at our shows? Just to get it out there. Because it's our job to ask, it's their job to say yes or no. Now, I'm the type of person, believe it or not, well, Diana knows because Diana recruited me into the other business. I did not run up to her and say, sign me up. And I ended up pretty much paying for her family's food for years. I did not run right up to her and say, sign me up. But something in my head went, maybe. And then I went home and I booked a show. And then I went home, and she was brand new. But she and I have talked about this, so it's not a criticism of any sort. But I went home, and when she came in to do my show, I had 2 people at my show. And she thought, thank God she lives close, because this is a bomb. At least I didn't have to travel very far. And she was all packed up. She started to go out the door, and my husband came in, and he goes, did you ask her? And I said, oh. And he goes, did you ask her about the job? And she goes, oh! And she came back, and she sat down, and we started to talk about the job. Do you know how many people are doing that at your shows? And you didn't even ask them? You didn't even ask them, and the husband didn't come in? And ask them because they felt like shy or weird or, oh, well, I'm okay without it. Steve Jobs from Apple is the one that he had a quote. He goes, most people have no idea what they want until we make it. Did you know you wanted an iPad? Why does everyone have to have an iPad? There wasn't even such a thing a year ago, and people were alive and fine. When televisions, everybody in the whole U.S. has more than one television in their house. People lived without them, but as soon as it was invented, so a lot of times people go to shows, they have no idea they want another job. So they're not going to come running up to you. It has to be, you have to create that desire for them or put that little thought into their head. So I do a lot of the morning after call, and I'll give you the morning after call. It sounds like, sorry, what did we do last night? I was naked in bed. But if you do the morning after call, so I actually will, I'm looking at my crowd, and there's people I specifically would love to work with, and you guys have heard these words before, but they work for me, because I've always found whatever you're feeling, get it out there, and then you're comfortable. So if you're feeling uncomfortable, get it out there. Lisa told me that recently. She goes, "It's taking on the courage." You know, because she told me this girl, she really wanted to work with her, she was intimidated by her. I go, tell her that. So that's what I do. So I'll call up and I'll say, you know what, it's taken all my courage in the world to call you, but I felt like I had to do it. And they're like, what's the matter? And I'm like, well, you have to promise not to think I'm crazy. And they're like, okay. And I go, have you ever considered doing what I do? And then you have to stay quiet. And a couple things are going to happen. First, they're going to say, you know, I have. More often than you guys would ever believe, they'll say, you know, I have kind of considered something like that. And then the other thing they'll say is, no, I haven't. Well, again, that was open-ended. No, I've never considered it. So I say, well, you know, you really ought to. And then I go on to say, you know, you're really sharp. It's a ground floor opportunity. You do it as little or as much as you want. And I think that has helped me with my recruiting enormously, is going back to the not lazy thing. Because I would love to be able to go out and do a show every night and get the full profit of 50% just for myself. But I've learned through all my studying of leadership that it's really, really important to put time into other people. So now, what I do when I recruit someone is I say, I will do your first 2 shows with you. And that takes away that angst that they have or whatever. So that's where we talk about flipping, because flipping in this business is really, really easy. In fact, remember when we were going for the 1,000 in December? This is what I did. I said, whatever I ever ask anybody else to do, I try to do, because I don't think it's fair otherwise. So when we were going